Right, that's it. My hair is so bad tonight that I'm going to wear a hoodie for this review. And also it's sort of dictates how I watched most of this film because it was so scary, some of the kills. I just sort of kind of did this. G'day, it's Adam here again with another quick instant movie review for you. So tonight I caught In a Violent Nature. This is the filmmaking debut for writer-director Chris Nash. What's this all about? Well, there's a fire tower in the woods that's all broken down and it has this gold locket hanging on it. These two blokes take this gold locket, but what they don't realize is they have unlocked an entombed spirit, that of a horrific bloke by the name of Johnny, who just happens to be there because of a 70-year-old crime that happened ages ago. And now Johnny's spirit is out and with it. He wants to retrieve this gold locket that belonged to his mother and sort some stuff out. And along the way, kill anyone who gets in his way. As I mentioned, this is from first-time feature filmmaker Chris Nash. He's a Canadian bloke. The different thing about this film, I suppose, is that we really are in the pocket following this Johnny for pretty much the entire motion picture. So we're seeing his kills, we're seeing him walk through the woods, we're seeing him, you know, meet people, greet people, usually with a big hook. Along the way, try and discover what his backstory is. There's a little bit of an exposition dump that happens over a campfire, but even that is not overly clear. There is some extremely woeful acting in this film. I will 100% say that. I know this film did have to get 70% of its runtime reshot due to the fact that the main actor had a massive medical episode, and basically the once it all came back online, the DOP wasn't available, the actor wasn't available, so they had to reshoot a lot of the material. So really, he was up against it for this film, and another great example of a filmmaker seeing his vision through to the very end and not having anything stand in his way. So huge kudos to Mr. Nash on that front. The film itself, as I mentioned, bad acting, number one. Not from Johnny, he's really good, the main villain. There is about 6 to 8 kills in this film, and for a film that follows a serial killer around, I mean, I suppose that's pretty decent. The one thing we don't get is the fully flushed out story of why Johnny is doing this. We get a little bit of it, but not enough to really justify his journey here. And also, if Johnny died when he was very young, how has he now come back as a, you know, as a whopping sort of 40 to 50-year-old? I mean, not even really sure how old he is, but there is some, as I mentioned, there's some pretty gnarly kills. There's one that will be forever now known as the pretzel death, or pretzel murder, I'm sure, because that's pretty much how it all works out. And ironically, it was during a yoga scene. How some of these people just choose not to get away, I just thought was really interesting. Yeah, and I think the biggest thing for me is that I didn't really understand the full arc of Johnny's journey, from why he is so hellbent and cheesed off about getting to this locket. Also, the ending. Now, the ending of this film will be very divisive. I know that Chris Nash said in an interview that he had a completely different ending planned, and obviously because of his scheduling didn't work out, and also budget constraints and stuff like that, his original ending was going to be something quite grandiose, but instead it is something quite reserved and not overly well thought out, I didn't believe. This does leave room for some more things, but I think the big thing for me is that it didn't stick its own landing. Particularly the end, is there's this massive exposition dump again, but it doesn't really lend anything to what we have just seen. Potentially in the future, or in another In a Violent Nature 2, I suppose, in Two Violent Natures, Too Violent for Nature. I don't know. You could swing it many a different way. But it doesn't really tie, I don't believe, together as a cohesive ending to this film. So, Deaths are pretty gnarly. Johnny's character walking around is pretty good. The cinematography on this is beautiful. It's a 4:3 aspect ratio. It looks really good even from that point of view. It looks pretty beautiful for most of the time, even when the kills are happening. So kudos to the whole team on this one, and I'm really interested to see what Chris Nash does next. I'd like to see him to continue directing, but maybe get someone else to write something. Why not? Or he collabs on writing, because I think some of the dialogue could have used with a few more passes, and certainly need some new actors. No offense, but offense, because some of them are not good. Probably give A Violent Nature a 6.5 out of 10. Check it out. Don't forget to subscribe. Tell your friends, tell your grandmother, tell your grandfather, tell your dog, tell your cat that I'm here. Please subscribe, and I look forward to catching up with you all next week here in my car.